You got your little phone telling you got a signal.
I got a little something.
Yeah,
Come on, Dylan.
All right.
Tee us off.
Welcome! We're back, baby, from the longest hiatus you never even noticed.
Yep.
To the F Movie Podcast. That's Nathan. He turned on the mic. This is Price. He's so about this movie. Dylan. I'm pretty hot on this movie. Here's Mason. We'll find out. This is the F Podcast today. I gotta do the old setup. Dylan, what are we talking about? Dylan, we're talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the 1988 classic. Yeah.
Classic.
It is it definitely is.
I've 100% heard of this movie and dodged it at every moment that I could for years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Mason can dodge it no longer because
I couldn't do it anymore.
put it on the wheel and, well, Daddy gets what Daddy wants. He spun it on it, so.
Well, no, it wasn't on the wheel.
Well, that's true.
It was a category.
It was a category on the wheel, but
Yeah.
nobody else had anything shorthand for American animation in the 80s. I think specifically
Yeah.
was the category, so.
You didn't give me any wiggle room.
I didn't. So anyway, I picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and we're here to talk about it. So let's get into it. What is this movie about? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Pretty short and sweet little review synopsis here. We live in a toon world back in the noir 40s at the time.
It's 40s.
40s, yeah, set in the noir time periods.
Mm-hmm.
So it's set in the 40s. We have noir overtone over what is a half living world, half toon world going on. And Roger Rabbit, one of the more infamous ones, gets framed for a murder and hijinks ensue, and it becomes a very noir toon movie mixing all of the fun elements together to get something. But that's more or less the gist of it. Hijinks ensue. This movie is not a kids movie, despite being PG.
You know what?
Whew,
Real
well,
quick.
and we're in it.
Well, I was gonna say at the very beginning, you know how like on Disney Plus anyway, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, PG-4, and you know it tells you what the
Mm-hmm.
depictions of tobacco
That's
was
all it
the
says.
only thing that it said.
Yeah.
As to why it was rated PG.
Not Jessica Rabbit.
But
Is
Jessica Rabbit's PG-13 on a whole
incredibly
separate thing.
sexualized.
Yes.
So I will. All right, quick trivia, really quick already. 2 words why this movie got PG.
Money?
Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
Robert Zemeckis directed it, but Steven Spielberg was a big producer in the background for it, which is why they were able to broker the first and so far only ever deal of Warner Brothers and Disney characters being on screen at the same time. Only collaboration that's been done thus far. Still pretty impressive.
Not
Oh,
even
yeah.
in like video games.
Not
or
in video, in any
properties,
form
or...
of media. This has been a complete split with that. The only thing, I think maybe the only thing relative, but they weren't properties at that time. DC and Marvel did comics back in the 70s and 80s of DC versus Marvel, but at the time they were not fully owned by Disney and Warner Brothers, so that doesn't get to count retroactively. But yeah, so this movie has plenty of things that should definitely put into the PG-13 category, but Spielberg did Spielberg magic, and he was like, all right, we're going to keep this PG, and everybody was like, okay, and mostly, yeah, money. Because once Warner Brothers and Disney agreed to do this, obviously the new PG-13 was going to slow down the market for their typical crowd, which is children, by nature. So, children got the tunes, the parents got the noir, weird mix film into it, and we got Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Quick trivia right off the cuff. But, let's get into it. What do we think?
I do think it's interesting, actually. The most interesting thing about this is the fact that it's a mashup of the Looney Tunes and your classic Disney characters.
Yeah.
I mean, the best scene, I think, in the movie, if I'm just going to go ahead and start throwing stuff like that out, the dueling pianos between
Daffy and Donald.
Daffy and Donald,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's
That
when
was
my
really
curiosity started to just really boil, because I was
Right.
like, what? These are the same duck, and I know my mind was just being like split in half, because I was like, are these both Looney Tunes? And I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, a little bit of your childhood knowledge gets really tested in this, right? Because there are times where it's like, they're not the same brand.
It wasn't
are they?
until Mickey Mouse
Mickey
that I
and
was
Bu-
finally like, oh my, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going
not
that crazy.
Goofy
Yeah.
or...
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, it took those ears for me to be like, finally, there's some definitive evidence of
Like,
Walt
this is
Disney.
for sure
Yes.
a Disney
Yeah.
hand in this thing.
But that felt very sideline to me. That the Disney
Yeah,
and Looney
like
Tunes, like
it didn't
take
take
a
a
Right.
stage. I mean, they
Yeah.
wanted to have like their characters.
But
Right.
I feel like it could have been any cartoons. Like it could have been like Nickelodeon. It could have been any
Yeah, it could've.
cartoon. They could have made
Could've
up
been the
whatever.
Smurfs,
Right.
Because the Rugrats,
Yeah.
which is
Rugrats.
Right.
It's just
Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me if the Recess.
Just Reptars in the background, just
Yeah.
tearing it up.
Tearing it up.
Although if this was Noir Recess, that would just be Brick again, and Price would sit there and give it like
Oh.
a 1 out of 7.
That's true.
I'm down for the Recess.
I want to see the
I am
Noir
too.
Recess.
I do too. I want to see the sequel, but
this movie is just a noir film about solving a murder with
Yeah.
tunes kind of there as a backdrop, like kind of flavoring. Like they didn't have to be there.
yeah, I think I'm so intrigued by this movie even to date as an adult because there's just like, who thought of this? Like, who was making noir movies? Like Robert Zemeckis, I guess, and Spielberg were hanging out and they're like doing coke, I guess, you know, as big directors do,
Yeah.
and they're like, we haven't seen any good cartoon movies in a minute. And he's like, yeah, I've been building this noir one. And he's like, fuck it. Let's just... And then they just put it together or something. Like, I don't know how conceptually you get the tune basis for this noir film. But for me anyway, it works. And, like, I always come back to this movie because this is a movie I grew up with watching. So I understand there's nostalgia and the rose-tinted glasses with that. But
You say that and you give movies like 9s and 10s.
Well, because all my nostalgia movies tend to
You're like,
still
I
be...
recognize it's there.
But okay, so here's the thing. If they don't land for me, then I would let them lower. But for the most part, they keep landing with me. Jurassic Park's still fucking beautifully aged. V for Vendetta was the other big one, and that's still in my top 5. And then this one, I don't know. We'll see. But I think overall, this is like such a strange pairing with it. But I'm overall just like... Yes, the lore of the movie outside of it, I think, is really impressive. But to your point, really, those properties could be interchangeable for anything. Any cartoons would have sufficed to do this role.
Would you say Space Jam is better or worse than Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Tell me straight up.
Just-
gut instinct. Go.
Worse.
No, worse than Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Space Jam is definitely worse. Space Jam is entirely clouded in nostalgia goggles.
Yeah.
It is not a good movie.
Speaking of Space Jam, another fun fact: Bill Murray was actually considered to be the main role instead of I forget his name, the main actor on this one.
The Valentine guy or
Yeah.
Valentino.
Valiant.
also
Michael
sounds-
Valiant.
It sounds like he's
Bob
done
Hoskins.
voice acting for
Yeah.
a lot of other stuff. Like his
Yeah, yeah.
voice sounds very familiar.
Yeah, but Bob Hoskins only got the role second to Bill Murray because they couldn't reach Bill Murray. Bill Murray found out. And like after interviews and news like things were going out later, and he's like, "Fuck!" Like,
Yeah.
and he totally
I
missed the
bet
shot.
he would have loved to.
Yeah,
be
this
a
and
part
this
of
seems like a Bill Murray because you mentioned
Yeah.
Space Jam, and my brain immediately was like,
we went
"Yeah."
to that afterwards. Yeah.
And that right, he probably was like, "I'm gonna go fucking make Space Jam
Yeah.
then or something." That's,
What were you making the Space Jam point? Do you like Space Jam more?
Space Jam is way better than this.
no.
It is.
Nostalgia.
How-
but-
Better how
Have
like
you
just by
seen
like your
Space
personal.
I
like,
watched.
feeling,
I've
or-
seen it. I watched it right before I watched the new Space Jam just to make sure. And it's,
Sure.
it's not that it's like structurally so much better than this movie, but like you want to talk about the intertwining, like the cartoons or Looney Tunes for instance. This movie doesn't give you as many of like those famous Looney Tunes as like Space Jam does.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your main 5 to 8 in Space Jam, whereas this one I don't know half of the ones that were on the screen.
Right. I
Or
mean,
more, really.
there
Like,
are a lot that are like just kind of like background characters.
they gave you
and
Bugs
probably-
Bunny for a skydiving scene, and that was it. They gave you Elmer or the pig
Yosemite
guy.
Sam
Porky.
popped
Yeah.
in.
Yosemite.
They-
Yeah, Porky Pig was like right at the
Very-
tail end,
right.
which
and
of
that's-
course he's going.
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
do.
and that's
fitting.
fine. But like, you gave me 30,000 other tunes up until then. I don't even care for Roger Rabbit.
I'll concede to
He was
you.
okay overall, but just like he got annoying to me.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have
Same.
Yeah.
your normal tunes in there. If you're gonna do a contract like this,
It feels weird not to the main
Yeah.
characters be front and center, right?
yeah.
But then we get into the weird decision for them to have a collaboration, and that part I still couldn't really sniff out to figure out like why there was a collaboration to begin with. Why didn't they just
Yeah,
do like a
that's
straight
the
Warner
thing,
Brothers
yeah.
one or something?
I mean, it's a
Um,
pretty big deal that they managed to do
No,
that.
it's still a huge fucking
And
deal to
I,
date.
I know that you said that you feel like all the characters are interchangeable as far as the cartoons, but I think the cameos and the that's like the only time you've ever seen on film these characters interacting with each other. And
Right.
even though there wasn't much of it,
This
I
is-
liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, again, the dueling pianos is my
like a
favorite
really
scene.
fun scene, right?
Yeah.
Having Acme literally do like all that stuff and just being an eccentric guy, and then going into I want to talk about the patty cake scene really quick though because I just think it's funny. Just like the whole overall because again like noir is so like the language of noir is so like that, right? So for it to be literally like
Yeah.
I audibly laugh whenever I
Yeah,
still
so
get to see.
this is them trying to like dodge getting into a harder
Right,
rating.
harder
like
rating.
they wanted to imply that
They were having
Acme and Jessica
Jessica
Rabbit were like
Fuck.
sleeping together.
Oh,
Yeah.
There was a million instances of that. At the very end, he's like, "How do you put up with that guy?" The main Valiant guy
Yeah.
asked the girl.
Jessica Rabbit.
She
yeah.
was like, "Oh, he makes me laugh."
Yeah.
She was like, "Wow, he must be a lot better in bed."
And
Or
she's like,
he was like, "He must have other stuff
he
going
must
on
be a
there."
real lover or
Yeah.
something. And she's
And
like,
she's
oh, you
like,
have no
Yeah,
idea.
you have no clue.
Yeah. Well, and then
Like,
there's
Jesus.
just puns on puns on puns with it, right? But and it's so funny. Like I remember thinking watching this all the time as a kid, and then rewatching it like probably somewhere in my early mid-20s, just on a whim on a random holiday or something. And I was like, why was I allowed to watch this?
Yeah.
The baby just being like, yeah, well, you got
What's
a 50-year-old lust with a 3-year-old dinky, you know? Like,
Yes.
you can't tell me that the baby isn't fucking charming. man.
Just like I didn't hate this movie at all.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you hate it, but I feel like when Price is quiet, usually he's just waiting to critique it, like at a certain point.
No, I'm just waiting until there's like a lull where I can make like
Sorry,
talk
sorry.
or something.
Okay.
But no, I don't have much. No.
So I got a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The cartoon world,
Mhm.
were you all as disappointed by that section as I was?
I wish it was longer.
it was
was-
only this big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really short. He didn't really do much other than just like a couple of like
Driving,
classic, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm falling, and oh, Tweety Bird comes up and makes my fingers like
Pluck,
pluck them away.
Sadistic ass bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also like the drive up to it. I don't know if you all felt this way, but like the audio of all the people singing simultaneously and like all the visuals, it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
Too. Like it just felt like a mess.
No, I thought.
And I imagine that's what they wanted it to feel like. It's like it's oh the
right, it should be a
cartoons, and they're
sensory
all
overload. If you're a human in a toon world,
but
I
it
guess,
doesn't feel good as a movie to do something
Yeah.
like that.
See, I liked it because it just felt. I thought it was just meant to be abrasive because it
Yeah.
would be
I mean,
Because
abrasive.
that was from
to
his point of
anybody coming
view.
in there.
Also,
Right.
he never liked the toon world, so maybe you are supposed
Well,
to get it.
he
He
did
did.
like
He had a
that,
history of
too.
it, but he's jaded since the.
Well, yeah, he's
brother
jaded.
killed,
Until
right?
his brother, which I was gonna say a big credit to this movie. I really like the scene where like he passed out from drinking or something,
Yes, the
and
little
it showed
Passover.
it showed the pictures with his brother, and that just
Yeah,
like
that was good.
that gave their whole story with just those
Yeah.
pictures
Didn't
and
have
with
to
those
say a
little
word.
captions. I like that a lot.
We didn't have to do a collage. Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed it out because that was one of my favorite things on this rewatch. There's just, I'm glad they didn't have to do a montage or anything like that, and I think the story being shown, not told in just a good way with just like the photos and then like the Passover and stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, they just told you everything you need to know about this without saying a word, doing a montage. That's it. I completely agree, Price. I think that's like definitely one of the better like narrative storytelling parts in the movie. There are certain parts of this movie that kind of get hung up in being extra, but I want to go back to Toon World for a second because I remember like I was watching it this time. I was like, this seems horrific. Like if I was a human in this world, it at times you have like the old timey Cuphead looking ones, and I'm like that are intentionally classically looking, but they're like also fucking scary
Mhm.
if like left out of context.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this. I would be terrified to be in this world as a fleshy,
Yeah,
diable human.
all those old Cuphead
Yeah.
style. Oh, it's funny that's the
Cuphead
thing that
Right
was-
now, we refer to it. That's
Yeah,
our
but-
millennials. They
Yeah,
refer to it
that-
as Cuphead
that,
in
like,
cartoons.
Betty Boop
Yeah.
era
Yeah.
of cartoons. They're so disturbing.
Yeah.
Like super duper disturbing. So yeah, the idea that you would be in a place where they're just
Everywhere.
Mhm.
Talk about disturbing. That I don't know why. Why did the judge, when you meet the judge for the first
Talk about
time,
the judge.
and the shoe comes up like a little puppy, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like you want to see what I can do,
Yeah.
and then just like goes through this horrific scene of killing this shoe. I'm like, why?
Well, the whole time I'm thinking too, like,
Why did they
that-
allow
that
this?
poor other shoe.
Yeah, I know. There's another
There's
shoe
now
out there.
there's an orphan shoe somewhere now.
Yeah.
I
like-
think that the judge was actually a really cool villain.
I
yeah.
did not dislike him. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like,
He was horrific. though.
Why did he have to start by
Why
killing
was
a
it
puppy?
allowed?
Well, because okay, so they couldn't. Right, this wasn't John Wick times. We weren't just killing puppies to make somebody a villain right away. So they're like, let's kill a cartoon shoe. Plus, we got to show that we can kill tunes. Which, to be fair, valid point. That these things at this point we've established these things are just immortal. Like.
Yeah.
Barring an eraser, there's so many questions of the implications of that world, because clearly also tunes can hook up with people, which I have so many more questions, because babies hooking up with,
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
I was like, this movie gets me thinking.
But they're just playing patty cake.
They're just playing patty cake, right? Also, the fucking
he smacks
pictures.
her ass.
Yeah, he does. The pictures with the patty cake, did that crack anybody up as much as it just me? Because just seeing them be... just, and the joy on his Acme's face while he's doing it, it's just... it's so funny.
You know what was weird though about that scene? Like that was funny, but like the Valiant guy, like while he was like taking all those pictures and like cranking his camera, he was like, like he was acting as Roger Rabbit would have acted, and I was like, why is he freaking out about?
Right, why is he doing this when they're just literally playing patty cake?
Like
but...
it was like you were supposed to have the implication that there was sex involved, which.
She was making noises too.
That's true. Yeah, you can hear her subtly making like moaning noises in the background for this movie. So it's just, oh bother. Yeah, but I wanna go talk to Judge Dredd because Judge Dredd is sick.
So good.
He's solid. He's a great villain in this movie. I think him whenever he's something about him sniffing the record, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why that like something about his nose just feels really weird, but I don't know, something in that scene I feel like was when you start to kind of see like. Maybe start like seeing cracks in like something's off about Judge Dredd, and then
Doom.
Doom, damn it, fucking Dredd, and then like it's funny in hindsight seeing like the drip get knocked over and everybody runs away from it, but it's more interesting to know that he's a tune running away from the dip as well in that instance.
Yeah, because in the moment it's just like. Everybody's running away from it because they're unsure about it, but he knows what it is, so if he weren't attuned, he would know that that's not anything to even be remotely worried about. That's not going to hurt a human, really.
It's like, it looks like it could probably burn through a floor if left unchecked for long enough, but obviously it just eats
turpentine and stuff, you don't want to smell it, but it's not going to kill you.
Yeah, laughing to death, Will. The weasels. Hey, but
the weasels. What were they thinking whenever he was like giving his diabolical plan of like, there won't be a single tune left, and they're like, hell yeah,
last tunes left.
Well, I mean, they knew that he was a cartoon character as well, so I don't know.
I'm sure they had a deal that like you just like how. At that point, no tune should be helping.
Why would they be on board with that?
My headcanon is that, like, if you're the last tunes in the human world and you just get rid of the dip, which, Judge Doom obviously had the monopoly on.
You're immortal.
Yeah, you just fucking run the... Like, if you're the weasels, as long as you don't laugh yourself to death, in the human world, they just take it. What are we gonna do? Lock them up? They're gonna flatten themselves through and go through. Speaking of flattening through... Dude, Judge Doom, whenever he gets run over and then inflated back over and all that.
Dude, he looks scary.
He's scary.
That was the scariest moment in the entire movie when his like eyes went like animated mode. And he was like, "I killed your brother."
Just like that.
That was insane.
I will say, for as much as I love Doom on that whole little like segment, the panning to Jessica and Roger getting soup backed and forth
like 10 different times.
It happens like 6 times, and even. I was just like, good God, like...
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
That never wore out on me.
It was classically cartoony, though, right? Like, so I guess it's a nice nod to what the medium is, but I remember thinking narratively, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're at it again. Like,
I just thought it was funny how many times that hose got turned back on and turned towards them again, just over and over.
If it did like 2 or 3 times, I'd be on board.
But it happens at least, it happens like 4.
So much.
Right, I think it happens 1 to 2 more than it should have, right, at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, random other trivia just because I'm thinking about it at the time. So we mentioned Toon World and why they weren't there like longer, didn't do more with it. But then I remember reading the trivia on like the logistics of how they went about doing this, because in the 80s this is still a pretty impressive looking movie to do like the Toon placed into the real world with that. And effectively how they did it was they had sketch artists do like the whole thing, and then they would have like a cutout, not necessarily a cardboard cutout, but they'd have to have like a paper cutout next to like the actor after like in between the scenes and stuff like that, and they would animate every single frame of that character movie. So anytime like Roger's doing any motion, it's just like a paper with different types of animations of him doing the motion for it. And then
so they had this like they physically I thought what they would have done is they would have recorded the whole thing and then gone back over and like basically
like stitched it in almost, No, so apparently how they did it was that they had like literally a paper cutout or like whatever of like of the frames, and went frame by frame with every movement of every like all the ones in it. Fucking insane when I read that.
Well,
this movie is.
Yeah.
Where did those go?
I don't know, but
They're worth millions.
the artist said that there
There
was
was something.
yeah, they're definitely have
Jessica
worth
Rabbit playing patty cake.
something. Yeah, but the artist was quoted on in the trivia that I was reading that said that there was like well over 1 million drawings on all of these, and I 100% believe it if just every single frame is like that.
Yeah.
And imagining, I don't even want to imagine a Toon World Wars before CGI and green screen at this point. So
Exactly.
I'm impressed by the technical feat of this movie in a lot of again the outside trivia of it I think is just super super interesting on that. Sorry, Bill Murray, but I don't know. You
The
want
budget was $70 million.
Yeah, I know. But for '88, that's the most expensive movie I think up until that point or something like that. I don't know if it was the most up
That's
to the
pretty
'80s.
pricey.
It was
Yeah.
definitely the most expensive movie of the year, but I remember it was setting a very high bar in '80s as like how expensive the budget was on it.
I bet The Fifth Element was up there.
Yeah, I think a lot of sci-fi movies get up there as well.
Like Waterworlds.
Waterworld's
Waterworld.
wildly
It's
too
It was
expensive.
super expensive. It's just
Needlessly
funny to
expensive
think.
at times, which I think
Needless. Hold
Ah.
There was a gas crisis.
You know how much those
happening,
jet
and
skis-
Waterworld was like,
Those jet skis cost so much.
I know. Oh man. Any other thoughts on the movie before we go into our next segment?
I will have to
shut
say.
up,
I will
Bryce.
have to say though. I get that it's set in the '40s, but the campiness did start to wear on me after a while. Like all the quipping
Yes,
that they did, that got on my nerves after a while. Because noir is not my genre, as you all know, and it got on my nerves. After
That's
a
what was
while.
keeping me a little bit more involved though, because every time
Yeah,
Roger
Breck.
Rabbit was in there, I was like,
He
Yeah,
got on my
there-
nerves.
there's-
I didn't. I don't think we've talked about it enough.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we
Roger
probably should.
is the most annoying
Yeah.
He is.
character.
He definitely
and why didn't
yeah.
they choose anybody else or make him
Like
way different?
just chill him a
Right.
little bit.
Turn
him down a little
He
bit.
doesn't have to be an absolute.
Give him some
psycho.
Valium.
Yeah, right.
And
Like-
every character too, it seems like has to have a speech impediment of some type. If you're a Toon or if you're on
Yeah,
Walt
I see.
Disney, Daffy
Right.
Duck, Donald Duck, obviously.
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit was the worst. Then you think of all the other ones, and you're just like, and you have to listen to him the entire movie.
Yeah, Roger definitely feels like a more likable Jar Jar Binks for our Star Wars fans out there. For this movie, and there's definitely moments where I definitely enjoy him, but yeah, even for me, I'm like, fucking Roger, goddamn. There are still times where I'm humored by him though. I think the handcuff scene still tickles me a little bit because you could have taken that off.
Like only when it would be comedically
too.
funny.
Yeah, I appreciate the dedication to the art there on that, and then
When he was being drowned
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the sink.
Yeah.
right, and the weasels being fucking coolest because they're just tunes too. So it's just literally his head was out. You see him on
Dude, I like
Like
the
screen.
Weasels.
the weasels. Yeah,
Weasels were pretty funny.
I actually do like the weasels. The weasels really land. I think the weasels kind of nailed the tone in the perfect way, right?
I think they were fine, but for as much screen time and attention as they got, I thought they could have been more.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could have done something more with them, but I think if you're going to keep them being more one-note characters, they did.
Yeah, I
fine.
think they served the minion
Grunt
position
role, yeah.
pretty well.
Because then you don't want. Because then we're gonna have the fucking the Weasel spin-off movie if they become too popular, and we can't be doing that. What are these guys gonna do?
Well, and they die in the movie.
Yeah,
How are you gonna
well,
spin
they
that
do
off?
die.
But then we would do a prequel where it's a Scorsese film or something. You know.
Well, so actually,
I'll
what
be
they,
on board.
what-
Shut up.
All right, here's what
Sign me
happens
up.
next.
Mhm.
They do a sequel to Casper
Uh-huh.
where they meet the ghosts of
Oh,
the
The
weasels.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
'cause they're
basically
ghosts
did that. Yeah.
But then they
So
get
that's
Casper into
another
hard
crossover.
drugs and then
Yeah.
crime. All right, yeah, because now it's Casper's a ghost, so he's gonna outlive what's her face, right? Or
Wendy or
Wendy,
the other one,
yeah,
So
Wendy,
long, I don't
Wendy,
even
yeah.
remember.
Or we said it before he meets Wendy, and then this is Casper on hard times.
Is it Wendy Peter Pan?
No.
Not Wendy is Peter Pan, but
Yeah.
I think it is also.
Oh, Casper
Is it
meets
Casper
Wendy.
as well?
That was Lizzie McGuire.
You mean Hilary Duff?
Well, yeah.
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. But anyway, let's if we're all fine with
No,
that.
we're not done yet.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Get in
The
there.
final scene,
Goes
as
so
a
long.
whole, was the best. The last 15 to 25 minutes or so.
Oh,
because-
just the warehouse
Yeah,
segment.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flattening, obviously.
Mhm.
The dancing scene that you finally got to see Valiant get a little bit more fun. Otherwise, he was just staring off into space.
Yeah.
Which he had to because there was nothing on the other side.
Yeah.
But he finally was kind
Goes
of
back to
dancing,
his tones,
yeah,
right.
just having fun. Anyways,
Because he had a playful thing. No, actually, I think that Valiant's character arc is actually really underrated in this movie because he goes from obviously being jaded, and which he shows in a little pan over that he was somebody who had a rich sense of humor and did care about tunes, and all the tunes knew he was like the go-to guy.
Yeah.
So for him to be jaded all these years, have a drinking habit, also the Texas. Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Some of the caricatures in this movie have definitely aged from the 80s. The Texas Bullets for starters.
Yeah.
But then one pulls
That
out.
was my favorite part. Was the tune gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love the tune gun.
The tune gun is super interesting, but then there's the Native American bullet who pulls out a tomahawk and woo all the way through, which is
I didn't even know.
yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Hannah came in at that
the
point.
tomahawk had a mouth on it too.
Yeah, it did all of it, and it looked like just like the old Redskins logo.
Like the Chiefs or something.
Right, yeah. And I remember Hannah popped in for that little part, and she's just like, "Oh, that doesn't fly now." Some of the characters are a little out of hand, which again is kind of homage in itself to
Sure.
cartoons in its own way, but
Not timeless.
sure. But the Texas Bullets, something about Texas bullets do seem funny to me though, which is pretty poor timing considering more recent circumstances. But we're gonna go ahead and move into Fat Pin or Perfectly Pit. Fat, Thin, or Perfectly Fit. There we go.
How Pitt is this movie?
This movie is Brad Pitt.
Yeah, how many Brad Pitts would we give this movie?
Yeah.
I'll start us off and we'll go around the world. This movie is Brad Pitt. It's fucking fit. Hour 43. The only thing that I feel drags on too long are some of Roger, period. That's really the best way I could sum it up. I wouldn't know where exactly, but just some of Roger. And the impress on the hose goes on, the hose goes off, the hose goes on, the hose goes off at the tail end. You can shrink that down to 2 times. You're losing suspense on it. But otherwise, for an hour 43, I think this is an easy movie for me to watch, but I'm biased though, so I'll admit that.
This movie is
10
really
out of 10.
fit. There's even with Roger Rabbit having way too many lines in my opinion and just spewing crap the whole movie I get it that was supposed to be his character. He was Valiant guy, even said all the time at the very end God, this guy's an idiot, man, he sucks, he never shuts up and all this, but it's not any worse for it.
This movie inspires the other guys. It's just the same movie. Yeah.
Who's Roger Rabbit?
That's clearly Wahlberg.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm a peacock.
You gotta let me fly.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
Rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fit. I don't know what I would really shrink down. For it to be a noir, it does the exact sequence to sequence as far as the evidence gets found, then there's a will, then there's a this. Now the bad guy, unveils his master plan. Now this, it follows every single page.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of kind of the clues and stuff, you had already seen it before.
Mm.
Neither of you had seen it before.
I never saw that coming.
You didn't see the will being the note.
No,
I
They
saw
kept
that.
doing it over and over.
Yeah.
So I was
The fact that I kept
yeah.
seeing that, I was that's the will. Very
I know,
early
yeah.
on.
But did you know it was gonna be Invisible Ink though? Because they do give that.
they teased that too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Also, I did not think.
I thought it was just going to be on the other side, and nobody
Right, nobody turned it
to
over.
because of the way he had folded it.
Right.
But yeah.
I never thought that the judge guy was a tune either.
Now that I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, fit for me.
Mason. Nathan. Sorry.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Say it's
Yeah,
fit again.
I mean, it's a fit movie. Fit movie, good time. I mean, if anything, maybe it's a little thin. Maybe we needed a little bit more, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto.
I could go without the Disney
Says
one.
the Kingdom
We're
Hearts
taking
fan.
some more
we
tunes.
need
Moaning.
Slow down on the Goofy.
We need to see Daisy Duck and Mickey Mouse playing patty cake together.
Yeah, just in the
Ooh,
background.
yeah.
Love it.
Dang.
Love it. Get this man a script. We're making him a sequel.
This movie's definitely fat. It needs to be totally restructured. You all keep talking about how they could use more of the tunes and less of the people, and that's what it needed. If it's gonna bill itself as being a live action but with tunes in it, it needs more of the tunes in it, and it lacks that. It instead gives us a noir movie that I don't really enjoy, and the finale, I can tell you right now, where I can cut 10 minutes out, and that's the finale. The ending is a 20-minute scene. You could easily chop that in half. Easily. It's just full of filler of just half-hearted jokes. just all kinds of stuff. Like
It's got a
the scene,
musical number.
the scene,
It
the
does.
scene with killing the weasels takes too long. I get that it's important because it's showing his change, but that could still be cut down. There's so much that could be cut out of that 20-minute section at the end. And before that, there's a lot that can be cut out. You could cut out, like Mason said, like it's got the Nora beats that you expect that's going to happen. You can cut out some of those, like cut out some of the twists and turns. That's not what you're there for. You're there to see the tunes and how they interact with the real world, not the noir movie that it's billing itself as. So total restructure would be necessary, but it's also fat.
I'm there for the noir.
See, I don't. If there's any like part of this movie that I would probably cut overall, it is the Disney aspect, because besides Mickey and Minnie, which was pointless,
Minnie was in it?
No.
No.
Minnie wasn't at the very, very end.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
the little
in the big-
musical
yeah.
outro sort of
Yeah,
deal.
in the big conglomeration of
Oh,
things.
okay.
And
I guess it
but-
is.
Donald,
I don't remember Minnie at all.
and I think that was about it, right?
Goofy.
Goofy,
So
right,
Goofy
yeah.
wasn't there, but they
He
had
kept
like
talking
they
about
it.
cut
They had
to like a scene
the animation
from like
movie.
one
And
of
Roger
his
was like,
cartoons.
He's
that,
the
that's
best.
one of
Yeah,
the greats.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Which
I could have done
I
without
thought
that.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Disney got gypped in this deal. I don't know, or maybe they ran away with it. I don't know, but there was
Right.
hardly anything of that. I thought there was plenty of tunes in it throughout.
Mm-mm.
Because
Yeah,
like even
yeah.
like him
It's
knocking on the
enough.
door, there was this massive like bouncer
the
guy.
big gorilla.
Right.
There was a bunch. Like I said, I just don't understand who any of them were. I feel like they were definitely sprinkled throughout.
I mean,
But
I think it's the curse of the time
there's
period, though.
There's
right?
a good number of original characters in this.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think it was light on the like recognizable characters.
Yeah, for sure.
And they also did, I think, due to the times, they were going into that like Betty Boop well of
Yeah,
characters
right,
that
that's true.
none of us are really gonna know.
Like
Yeah.
our parents' classic staples that they
Yeah.
grew. I mean, again, because this is a movie in the '80s at the end of the day, so by then,
They had to have been established in the 70s.
right, these
and
had
the
to have
60s.
been already old like cartoons to begin with.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, the fact that we don't see Popeye and stuff in this movie is like,
Yeah.
That's
like
true.
Yeah.
kind of like the surprising factor here. Like hell, he could have been a main character. He could have been.
He
fucking
might
Bob
have been in the
Hoskins,
final
but-
scene that
Right.
like that of the big pan, but I don't know.
And my big guess onto why we probably don't get more of the main characters, like do we do a la Space Jam or something like that, is because A, they're collaborating property, but B, I guarantee every time, because they were very specific whenever we had any of like the main characters, barring Goofy, who had his own little segment, like we mentioned earlier, they had to be paired with their Warner Brothers counterpart, right? So anytime we had Bugs, we had Mickey on screen.
Yeah,
at
there
the
was
same
a
time.
skydiving scene.
You're right, and then we had Daffy,
Yeah.
we had Donald at the same time because that was contractually like that was part of the deal. They were gonna like we needed our main characters have to have equal time with that, but Goofy gets his own little segment on the screen because I guess it's just considered unrelated and background filler, I suppose. Which proves Goofy's the fucking goat, but just as Roger said, but. I guarantee that the more they tried to like put more main characters into it, the more like lawyers got involved, and it's Disney lawyers
Maybe.
in the '80s. They're like, no, they're like that. ain't happening.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
probably a lot of approval. that
Oh,
was
God.
having.
I cannot imagine the amount of supervision that had to go into this movie. Like the micromanaging had to be insane. When I think about how much property is in here.
Yeah, well, and you got to consider the fact too that this movie is racy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing that's so surprising about it having the Disney characters
How
in
did-
particular.
yeah.
Like, the Looney Tunes, you know,
Sure, Looney
that
Tunes
can
is
be a
fun.
little bit more loose, but Mickey Mouse being in a movie that has, like, implications of sex,
Mhm.
that has a bar, like,
Yeah.
prominently
Open
featured
drinking
with,
drug use,
with
right.
drinking, and, you know, the main, I mean, Roger drinks, like, whiskey at
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of points or bourbon or something. But
Yeah.
like there's alcohol use and it's a very seedy town. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty.
The kids on the train are just giving cigarettes to
Yeah,
people on the back of the
yeah.
trolley.
Yeah, he was giving cigarettes by children.
Yeah. Thanks, kids. 2 cigarettes. Like.
Yeah, this is a weird film whenever you consider like
Yeah.
that and Mickey Mouse.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Considering all the stuff that get on the screen, it's pretty absurd. But Price wants to get to the score.
I've got the perfect question already.
Oh, okay. That's right. We do
I've
have a
got
question.
the best question.
Good, because I didn't have one. That's
What
I
what
forgot.
movie has better penguins? This movie when they're surfing or Penguin Highway?
Oh, that's not
I
fair.
love these.
The penguin's giving him rocks on the rocks is a fucking hilarious joke, and he even screams it at them.
ice.
I mean ice. It's just actual rock. I want to give it to this, but the penguins in Penguin Highway are so fucking adorable.
They are those big
Oh
old
my
eyes.
god, yeah, they're so cute.
But also in Pigment Highway, there was just like a multitude of them. They were
They're
just
just
like
millions.
blurred together.
Yeah.
They aren't individual penguins.
Yeah, they
except
are
for that
legion.
one that was getting sick.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
the only one that they have a
Ooh.
little bit of individual investment.
Right. No, I would go to that iceberg bar all the time. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh my, I would live there. Are
Well, I
you
mean,
kidding me? That
That's
part's
where Jessica
sweet.
Rabbit.
Jessica
was.
Rabbit exclusively, but I mean every night Jessica Rabbit's
That
there. of
pervy
course.
old man is
Yeah.
waiting for her every night.
Like, Acme, he's here every time Jessica plays. A tune? And God, that's many people's sexual awakenings. I'm sure of it. There's a lot of weird,
Yeah,
lots of weird sexuality came out in this movie for people. Anyway,
All right, I'll start scores.
sure.
Oh.
So right back to Dylan. This movie is a 5. It's a movie. It exists. It's
Well,
a little-
those are
it's,
true.
It's a little bit too long. It doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to be a different movie, and the movie that I got is a noir movie, which is a genre I don't like. I don't enjoy the campiness of it. Again, I know that's what it's going for, and I'll get critiqued for it later because I'm going first. I don't care. I don't enjoy it. I thought it was going to be a lot more tune related, possibly shorter, easier to chew on. This one had more for some reason, which I don't know why. Roger's very annoying. I just wanted the judge to kill him when he was just acting like an idiot inside that room. Like, just kill him and be done with it. Let this be a different movie. But it's not. So this movie's a 5. It's not terrible. It's just I landed on that score right when I got done watching it. I was just like, I watched that. That's a 5. Like, it's not bad. It's not great. It's just middle of the road for me. So solid 5.
If this movie was called Who Framed Roger Rabbit by Studio Ghibli, you would give it a 9 out of 10.
I don't know if I've even given. I think I may have given like Kiki's a 9, but
Which is the strangest one to give Kiki.
Yeah.
I love Kiki's.
I mean, Kiki's delightful, but 9 is a strange number. But anyway.
I feel like we've always kind of disagreed on.
Yeah, because you made us watch Princess
the
Mononoke
range of those.
and Kiki, and we
Yeah.
were all like, "Oh hell yeah, Princess Mononoke!"
And then
we were
I
like,
showed you
"Nah."
all Promare.
Oh god. Which is also a 9 for you.
Yeah,
No,
somehow.
I think I gave it an 8
I'm gonna.
because the dialogue is absurd.
I can't wait until I
The
get
movie is
Bob
absurd.
The whole
Burning
movie.
passion.
Oh, God bless.
Okay,
Sorry,
Nathan,
Nathan.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I'll go next.
Disney fanatic
Yeah.
over here. I wonder where
He
he's
was
going.
having-
Yeah. He's went like
Oh,
40
man lives
times.
his
cartoons
Yeah.
up here on the wall.
Tunes.
Tunes.
Can I use the term Disney adult?
No.
Because
that's not- that's
There-
not that
there's a
hard,
terrible
man.
connotation with that.
Yeah, those are freaks. Yeah, so I enjoyed this movie. There's more I might have wanted out of it. It's one that weirdly I'd never watched before. So
Wow.
I'm
You're the
glad
only
that
one
I
that's seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad
That's
that I finally
surprising.
got around to seeing it.
Happy
I
to
thought
see
it
it.
was a good time. I don't think it's an amazing movie. It's one that I think I would watch again just to like try and pick up on the cameos and stuff maybe a little bit more because it feels like a lot at sometimes, like so much so that if you really want to kind of see what they were doing, you might need to pause it. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I like almost want to give it an 8, but I think I'm just gonna land at a 7.5.
No.
So I feel like that's a pretty good spot for it. It was
That's
worth
high.
the time,
Mhm.
and I gave it more attention than I do other movies. So that's
Were
definitely.
you playing anything during it?
Arceus?
Ah.
yeah.
That's
Well,
fine.
at this point, that's
Yeah.
pretty lowbrow.
Yeah.
You're not using that much energy on
Yeah,
it.
not at all.
Yeah. Mason.
This movie, whenever Dylan said something about like nostalgia, I tried to watch this movie without being a 30-year-old that had never seen it, and it's also a 50.
Just turn 30.
Yeah, just turned 30, and it's
He
what?
just crossed the line and he's using it as soon as he got it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
30 years old.
34 years old.
And drawing Social Security.
Yeah.
So this movie is 4 years older than I am.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
not
was
1 year older than me then.
yeah.
Yeah.
See?
It's only 15 years older than me.
Oh God. He's a tyke.
Shut up, Baby
So
Bell.
I tried to open my eyes to this a little bit more because,
So
as
you have to
Nathan
watch
said,
movies.
I didn't shut your mouth. I never
You
grew up
sleeping?
with the tunes. I never really grew up with Disney a whole lot. So like all these cameos halfway mashed together, I couldn't really understand it. But I did try to.
Looney Tunes were like that for me.
Yeah. But I still think I'm gonna give it a 7. It was almost a 7.5. I could float either way as long as I
Just
like.
give it the half. It deserves it.
Just give it the 7.
I'm gonna land at a 7. If I was to watch it again, I might end up liking it more. But it is a little bit much just at certain times, and it's only because of Roger Rabbit. Like if they, like you said, if they just dial him back, stop.
Just it wouldn't even be that much.
No,
just
and
a little
it,
bit.
and it would make a huge difference.
because he is so annoying.
Because all of the other characters, I think, are very well established, and like the main guy, Valiant, you know, he wasn't even that much. He wasn't too much.
Mm.
But yeah, I'll land at a 7.
I like this movie.
Yeah, you've made that apparent.
I do. This is a childhood nostalgia movie. This is one of those movies I had on cassette. So, listen, call it for what it is. Yeah, there's nostalgia to it, but I watched it as an adult, and I'm not afraid to say that it's not a perfect movie. I won't be giving this movie a 10.
That was on the tape.
Oh yeah. I realized this could have probably been in my top 10 movies actually.
Wow.
And in hindsight, whenever I totally forgot about it, dropped off the radar with it. Looking at my top 10, it maybe gets 10.
Huh.
Blade Runner, I really
Oh
fucking love Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
I can't. What world does 2049 lose to Who Framed Roger
Right?
Rabbit?
What a strange
And
like.
how does Who Framed
It's
Roger
got
Rabbit show up 34
nostalgia. It's got
years
nostalgia,
later?
but I recognize that,
Right.
so it's okay.
Listen, people are fine for okay with liking it, but you got to bring a critical eye to it still to date, and and I do.
Star Wars says, "Let the past die."
No, they don't. They keep making new movies. So,
New shows.
yeah, gotta watch
Jurassic
Obi-Wan
Park
when I
does
get
that
home.
too.
Oh man, I can't wait to watch Jurassic Park 6. This one looks fucking sick.
I've only heard horrible things.
I can't
No
wait.
way,
I can't
really?
wait.
I still haven't even watched the new stuff.
Don't.
They're
awful.
good.
Jurassic World's fine. Jurassic World 2 blows. Jurassic World 3 TBD. But
Jurassic World's
all right, let me finish my scoring on this already. So this movie's not perfect. Roger gets progressively more annoying the older I get. I remember thinking as a kid he didn't bother me. I remember thinking in my 20s I'm like, he's kind of annoying. I remember thinking on this rewatch I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I'll punch you in the mouth if I
Yeah,
could.
but every other character is great in this movie. Jessica is great. The human characters are all like fine, and they do it perfect well of being campily noir while also juxtapositioning the ridiculous tune elements that they're in. I think that all of the technical aspects of this movie is just super neat. I appreciate all the fucking work and things into that goes into that for a movie at the 80s. And again, I appreciate a movie that's old as hell and still looks good. And this movie still looks good.
Hand drawn animation always is going to look good though.
Yeah.
Always. Hand
I don't know. I draw some
always
pretty
looks
shitty
great.
drawings, so
Give me a piece of paper.
give me a
don't
piece
count.
of paper.
But even like Snow White, I think, still looks.
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah. I mean,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Disney classics and the hand drawn
Yeah.
too. They look gorgeous. But I mean, that's a great.
Right.
Listen, great creative choice on Disney influence to be a part of that process. But Roger's a little annoying. Movie is a fair, healthy length long, so I really don't have many more cons than that on really this rewatch. It makes me laugh. I enjoy like the noir aspects. I think the storytelling's fine to good. This is my biggest problem is that it doesn't do, as far as storytelling and the noir elements, it doesn't do anything great. Mason points out that it is very intentionally so cookie cutter noir, and I think it's fine. It does that fine, but it's not trying to do anything more impressive than that. It's almost more impressive at what's going on outside of the movie than what's inside the movie, which I would say is probably my biggest con against it. But even then, I still super enjoy this movie. I'm giving this movie an 8.5. I've watched this movie for going on 30-something years at this point. I'm still entertained by it. I'm still actually get more impressed with it the more I learned about that trivia stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
So for that alone, I keep it at 8.5. I think it deserves that rank for me, and hell, it gets close to almost being a top 10. But
Do you want to look and see what the critics said?
I do. I've got
right
it up.
under
You?
2049.
Yeah, right under 20.
Right
There.
under there.
Well, I can't say anything. I know Mason. I don't like that movie at all.
Oh
but-
man,
I'm
yeah.
not. I was not
I've
as
been
So-
much of a fan.
Oh, same here, Mason.
Tomato meter puts it at a hot 97%, with audiences 85%, which makes total sense. This movie looks like a movie that was received very well in the 80s. And with a crazy budget and a
What?
director that was pretty well big, plus Spielberg being attached to it.
Everyone was vibing with everything that they were spewing in the 80s.
Oh, in the
or
80s?
late 80s.
Yeah, like crits, I'm with you on this. Like, that
Yeah,
that score is like, we
they were
haven't seen
eating it
real
up.
movies yet. We've gotten, like, Jaws and a couple Star Wars at this point.
They were like, give her more
That'll distract
cleavage!
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they were saying.
Yeah.
So, wheel time?
Well
Well, okay.
Why do you always get to spin it?
Nathan gets to spin it today.
Oh,
Nathan, reach over here.
But it's got to spin from
All
this
the
one.
way across.
Well, Price spins it, and it's the worst spin. Retro
That's
review.
a hardy spin.
Oh,
it flicked
it
at
was
the last
so
second.
close to Tomb Raider.
Kevin Smith directed movie.
See ya.
I hate these cats.
I don't know whose turn is it. I know
I have
it's
no
not
It's
mine.
idea.
Nathan's.
Nathan.
Oh, is
Nathan
I
or
think it's
me.
Nathan.
Nathan or Mason are on Kevin Smith directed.
I don't want it. I didn't want that category to begin
Yeah,
with.
that's true. You've said from the beginning you didn't.
So,
Hey,
you gotta
let's-
give me a second.
Yeah,
here, I
let's,
think.
we can just close it out instead.
No, we got a whole trailer segment to do.
But he doesn't have anything, so let's just close.
No, it's fine. We'll just edit this part out. We always do.
No, we're not.
So I've never seen Mallrats, but I have
Tusk.
seen Clerks. I have
Tusk.
seen Dogma.
Tusk is
I've
awful.
not seen Chasing Amy either.
Chasing Amy's okay.
Oh, Chasing Amy is supposed to be pretty good.
Chasing Amy's good though. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I won't lie. I haven't seen Mallrats either though.
Jersey
I kind of
Girl.
feel bad for being liking Kevin Smith and not having seen Mallrats.
We could go with Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Let's get the
It's
trailer.
gonna be Mallrats.
Yeah.
Mallrats.
What's cooking? It smells like a grilled cheese,
It smells
does.
delicious.
but like bad cheese.
Yeah,
Nah.
burnt cheese.
Yeah, like it's burnt.
Oh, that's the best kind of cheese. What's Red State?
Shut up.
Red State's supposed to be
You
good.
gotta get a little crispy on it. Yeah.
I've never watched that one. A lot of his tail end ones I haven't seen.
Oh, it's My Name is Earl. 3.5. Wait, no, this is a
This
clip.
is a
This is a
This is
clip.
a clip. Yeah,
Oh.
this is 3 different.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Come on, Nathan. Come on. He's also
That's-
from My Name is Earl.
No, he's the guy from.
He's from
Boy
My
Meets
Name is
World.
Earl.
Boy Meets
He-
World first.
My name is Jonas Tender. Hey, this one's for you, buddy.
I feel like all these people are slightly famous.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like-
well, I think a
They're
lot
all
of
very
them-
Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were because they're a part of like
Right.
Kevin
True.
Smith's circle. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
This is gonna be solid.
Whatever happened to that actress?
Isn't that
Big
Bridget
Daddy.
Stone?
Yeah, it's from
Bridget,
Big Daddy.
Bridget Jones chick?
I think so.
Hell yeah, Donnie Darko.
Mhm. I will say, this has been one of the more delightful older trailers we've seen in a minute.
It has.
Yeah.
It looks like the Bratz logo.
Mm.
Yeah. It really does.
Look, it's tongue in cheek. They know.
Mhm.
What else do you expect from the
Yeah.
director of Clerks? Okay.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
Yeah, I'm satisfied finally
I'm
by the
vibing.
trailer. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, to be fair, we've had some bad trailers.
Yeah, I
hope
guess we'll
it-
see
yeah.
how this pans out then.
Yep.
Lives
We'll,
up halfway to that at least.
we'll tune in to Price's favorite, Mallrats, next week.
It is my favorite
Make sure to hit the bell.
of all time.
So you know whenever Price is excited to talk more about this movie, Give us a comment below if you love the wheel and everything that we do with it. It's the best, and we'll never change it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel because, listen, we want money.
We need
like
it.
money.
We need
Money
it.
now.
Money now.
You can pay us in gasoline as well.
Literally, it's too hot. Guys, I just bought a home I can't afford. Help me. I haven't told her, but I can't afford it. Subscribe right now. What are you doing?
Can Sarah McLachlan be playing in the background?
Yeah, can we?
Yeah.
If I knew how to edit, by God.
Have we been at 31 for a while?
Long time.
31.
Okay.
Be the 32nd
We haven't
one.
uploaded for a month.